And Thursday, the best day of the week. Part of the reason it's the best day of the week is because we get to talk to Mike Silver. Don't shake your head. Thursday is fantastic. Can you not feel the energy in the room right now?
Thursday's fine, Mark. Thursday's a good day.
Fine.
It's better than Tuesday.
I don't like the word
it's
fine.
better than Wednesday. It's better than Monday. To say that it's the best day of the week erodes your credibility like a mudslide on the Santa Cruz Mountains.
No, first of all.
Let's ask Mike Silver. Let's ask Mike Silver if he thinks Thursday is the best day of the week.
Mike, don't you think Thursday is awesome? Part of the reason is you get to come do this conversation.
Thursday's great, but I would say this Thursday is particularly good because, A, it's a Friday, and people who cover football or traffic in the NFL know what I mean.
Yep.
Because Saturday's a Sunday, so this is a Friday. B, I just wrote 3 columns for 2 entities over like a 24-hour period, and that seems to be done. And I just recorded a podcast for The Volume, and I'm about to do some video for Bally Sports, and then I'm finally going to exhale and get ready for this game in a more relaxing way. So, yeah, Thursday rocks.
Look at you.
But is Thursday the best day of the week? And Mark, in typical journalistic fashion, tried to skirt his own statement in order to couch it.
You'll be exhausted tomorrow night. Fridays are for exhaustion. If you've ever had kids, you know. Like, I got no energy on a Friday night. Tonight, margaritas, Mike. Come on.
Try having grown kids. I can drink with my kids on Fridays if they're visiting.
Well, that's different. I haven't gotten there yet.
I got a couple of those, and I got one in diapers, Mike.
I'll call you in 6 years when I get to that.
Legally, by the way, legally.
No doubt.
Yes.
I got one of those.
Yes,
I got 21-year-old.
I can drink with my kids, too. It just has to be like Gatorade or something. But anyway,
Gotcha.
Mike Silver, San Francisco Chronicle. One of those articles you dropped was about Pete Carroll. Let's talk about the guy who's got such big Bay Area roots, but now is the captain of the rival. And here he is, still going, and found a way to make his way to the playoffs. Like, what makes him special, and what kind of coaching matchup is this one this weekend?
Well, he's the pride of Green Bray and Redwood High, first of all. So a lot of Bay Area cred. Yeah, I go back to a year ago, like almost exactly a year ago, I was reporting that Pete Carroll and general manager John Schneider were awaiting their fate. They were going to meet with owner Jody Allen. They didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody really knew. And some people thought, well, this will be it. He was 71 at the time. They're possibly looking at a major rebuilding project, going to get potentially trade Russell Wilson, which they did, got rid of Bobby Wagner. Does 71-year-old Pete Carroll, for all his energy, want to do that? Will the owner want him to, et cetera, et cetera? They kept him. They traded Russell, and everyone in America, including me, was like, oh, okay, well, they're going to suck, and it's going to take a while, and maybe he'll get it back again. And I had the same thing happen in 2017. I went up there for NFL Network, covered a Rams Seahawks game late in the year. It was a changing of the guard game. The Rams killed him, won the division. I reported that Richard Sherman, Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, Cam Chancellor, they were going to clean most of it out. And I figured 2018 would be a disaster. They made the playoffs. So I'm like, I'm not going to get fooled again. You know what? I am. This team will suck. One guy, as far as I can tell, one human was like, nope, we're going to be good. It'll be fine. That human, of course, is Pete Carroll. I said in my column, he's the guy in a flash flood, clinging to a branch, giddily screaming, this is going to be great for the drought! That's Pete Carroll. So in this case, his optimism, was spoken into existence, and here they are. Geno Smith is a Pro Bowler. They've got 4 rookies who are huge impact rookies, 2 offensive tackles, the running back Kenny Walker, and a Pro Bowl corner in Tariq Woolen. And, yeah, the Niners have beaten them twice and haven't been particularly tense games for Niner fans, but I think you always got to worry about what Pete might have up his sleeve. And whatever happens to them on Saturday, this has been a triumph, and the power of positivity wins again.
Like you said, far better than anyone had expected outside of Pete Carroll himself. So in order for this to project out for more than just a couple more days for Seattle, what do they have to do? What has to go right for them to prevail on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen flashes of it in the 2 games against the Niners, and, it's easier said than done. against a team as good as the 49ers are. And I don't want to suggest that I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, because I think it's all there for the taking for the Niners. They are in great shape heading into this postseason. But, they scored 7 points in that first game, Seattle. For those who don't remember, that was the game Trey Lance got hurt. The way they scored was a blocked field goal returned for touchdown. So they do weird stuff like that. We saw Richard Sherman do that in Seattle against the Niners back when both teams were really, really good, in the Harbaugh era. They had another chance to score in that game, and they ran what Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, has joked about it with me since. But he's like, I called my worst play ever, which was they put like 3 or 4 running backs in at the same time. They had one try to throw for a touchdown to the other, and it was horribly conceived and intercepted. So, they've had moments where they've done some cool things against the Niners. They've had other moments that they've left on the table, but they're going to have to play one of those games where they're really on point, all of that goes right, and then maybe, weird stuff happens. And a lot of weird things have happened in a lot of Seahawks games over the years, and 49er fans understand, because before this year's sweep, they had lost 15 of 17 and 17 to 20, and it's not all Russell Wilson. So we know it's going to be raining. It could get weird. It's kind of like what I always say at Cal games when, this year we were losing the big game, and by we I mean I'm a proud alum of the University of California, and Cal did not look particularly good. Not that Stanford was a bunch of world beaters. And I finally just declared in a group with a bunch of nervous friends, this needs to get weird. This game needs to get weird for us to be happy. And thankfully it did. And, I think the Seahawks are kind of in that same mode. Like they got to play really well. They got to have things go their way, but they probably need some weirdness to happen. And, if you're a 49er fan, you're like, well, we're better. We should win, but we don't want that sick feeling in the playoffs where all of a sudden your entire season could be on the line before you realize it, and weird things are happening.
Yep, no doubt. Some of us, I think, almost expect it when this is the opponent. Mike Silver, the Chronicle, the volume is with us here. 95.7 The Game, Willard and Dibs, as he is every single Thursday. I know another one of your articles is focusing on Brock Purdy, and we're all enamored. We're all trying to figure out, is it real? Is it imagined? Is it somewhere in between? And I wonder, in your conversations with him and going a little deeper, what really stood out about him and this story?
Well, to borrow from an old Seinfeld episode, I would say it's real and it's spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I first of all, I do think it's real. That's not to say that he's not going to have lumps, and we all know that he could have a terrible stretch or game in him, and you hate to think that could happen now because you can't afford that. But, he's passed a lot of tests, and he's obviously got a really, really good operation around him, and he knows that. One of the things we talked about was just, he's not buying into the whole storybook thing because he's like, look, these guys around me have worked so hard to get to this point, and they've helped me succeed, and I'm just thinking about them and not letting them down and being the best I can be for them. And I think that's a healthy attitude, especially for a rookie, and a rookie whose swag and confidence stood out even before he got on the field. We get into that a little bit. We get into, some of the things in his past that helped prepare him for that, including going through as a little kid in 2008. I think he was 8 years old when the housing crash happened, and his parents were affected in a big way, like millions of other Americans. And, he didn't really know what was going on at the time, but he kind of had to go through that, went through some stuff in the college recruiting process. And, when he showed up with a lot of swag, he definitely turned some heads. And there's a very funny anecdote in there about he and Fred Warner, who, by the way, is like his biggest cheerleader since, the early days. But he got Fred Warner mad one day in practice during the season, and they just kept going at it. And so I think 49er fans will be entertained, and I think you'll come away from the column thinking, this guy may have what it takes to get it done these next 4 games and beyond.
Now, the proof will be in the pudding in these next 4 games. If they make it through all 4, then certainly the narrative will change. You mentioned Fred Warner. The defense has looked a little bit more pedestrian over the last couple of weeks. Do you think it's because of what D'Amico Ryans was intimating, that the motivation wasn't necessarily there, or have other teams maybe found a soft spot in what they're trying to do defensively?
Yeah, I mean, we're all wondering, right? I mean, it's human nature to not be dominant when you on some level, you don't have to be. And it's a testament to the coaches and to D'Amico Ryans and obviously Kyle Shanahan and to the players that they were able to stay on point at the end of the season. But I don't know. I look at these, since they clinched in Seattle, I look at the way the end of the season played out as a huge positive for them. They gave up some plays and all that, but let's look at the positives. Okay, first of all, we know that if a ball is hanging up forever deep in the secondary, unlike last year, and I know it's too soon for a lot of Niner fans, Jaquiski Tartt, NFC Championship game, we know that Tayshaun Gibson 3 times in the last 2 weeks has had a chance to take that easy-looking interception and return it for big yards. He's 3 for 3, so I think that's a good sign. And I think more globally, you go, look, they think about where they were in the, back-to-back losses to the Falcons and Chiefs health-wise. So many impact players with so many issues, and really fears about McCaffrey, who was newly acquired, holding up. And they are, I just can't believe how healthy they are. They, Debo came back, Mitchell came back. Trent Williams went through his thing early in the year. Juszczyk went through his thing. They've got a lot of really, really good players who are mostly healthy. Greenlaw is going to try to come back from that back injury. I talked to him this week. Yes, he's in a lot of pain. He does not believe he could have played last week if he needed to, but he also was like, I can do it 4 times. It's going to suck, but I can fight through that and do it 4 times, and he's fully prepared to. So I just think they're in a great spot. They've got confidence. They're in a rhythm. They're well-rounded. They're healthy. And they do seem well-positioned to take those meatball interceptions when need be. So, they gave up some yards and points. I thought they snuck in and still won the defensive yardage title, and they're also the number 1 scoring defense, which I think is even more important. So we know that they can be dominant. They may not always be dominant, but I think that offense is going to work in tandem with them come playoff time.
Mike, you had me at meatballs, and we appreciate you always, and thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the best day of the week.
All right, man. Saturday's going to be fun, and next Thursday, if things go well for the Niners, we will be talking about another matchup.
Yes, we will.